Sometimes people ask me, aren't you lonely out there with just desert around you?
I guess they mean the bare grass and the yuccas and the cactus and the rocks.
I guess they mean the deep ravines and the hotness in the cliffs and the coyote trails that wind across the hills.
Lonely?
I can't help laughing when they ask me that.
I always look at them
surprised. And I say, how could I be lonely?
I'm the one in charge of celebrations.
Sometimes they don't believe me, but it's true.
I am.
I put myself in charge.
I choose my own.
Last year I gave myself 108 celebrations, besides the ones that they closed school for.
I cannot get by with only a few.
Friend, I'll tell you how it works.
I keep a notebook and I write the date and then I write about the celebration.
I'm very choosy over what goes in that book.
It has to be something I plan to remember the rest of my life. You can tell what's worth a celebration because your heart will pound and you'll feel like you're standing on top of a mountain and you'll catch your breath like you're breathing some new air.
Otherwise, I'll count it just an average day.
I told you I was choosy. Friend, I wish you would be here for Dust Devil Day, but since you weren't, I'll tell you how it got to be my first real celebration. You can call them whirlwinds if you want to. I think Dust Devils has a better sound. Well, anyway, I always stop to watch them. Here, everybody does. You know how they come from far away, moving up the flats, swirling and swaying, and falling and turning, picking up sticks and sand and feathers and dry tumbleweeds. Well, last March 11th, we were all going somewhere. I was in the back of a pickup truck when the Dust Devils started to gather. You could see they were giants. You'd swear they were calling their friends to come too. And they came, dancing in time to their own windy music. We all started counting. We all started looking for more. They stopped that truck and we turned around and around, watching them all. There were 7. At a time like that, something goes kind of crazy in you. You have to run to meet them, yelling all the way. You have to whirl around like you were one of them, and you can't stop until you're falling down. And then all day you think how lucky you were to be there. Some of my best celebrations are 7 surprises like that. If you weren't outside at that exact moment, you'd miss them. I spend a lot of time outside myself looking around.
Once
I saw a triple rainbow
that ended in a canyon
where I'd been
the day before,
I was halfway up a hill,
standing
in a drizzle of rain,
but it was almost dark
but I wouldn't go in,
because of the rainbows.
of course.
And there,
At the top of the hill,
a jackrabbit
was standing,
up on his hind legs,
perfectly still,
looking straight
at that same
triple.
rainbow.
I may be
The only person in the world
who's seen
a rabbit
standing in the mist,
quietly watching.
3 rainbows,
That's worth
a celebration.
any time.
I wrote it down,
And drew the hill
and the rabbit,
and the rainbow.
and me.
Now
August 9th,
is Rainbow Celebration Day. I have Green Cloud Day too. Ask anybody and they'll tell you clouds aren't green. But late one winter afternoon, I saw this huge green cloud. It was not bluish green or grayish green or something else. This cloud was green, green as a jungle parrot. And the strange thing was that it began to take a parrot shape. The first the wings, and then the head and the beak. High in the winter sky, that green bird flew. It didn't last more than a minute. You know how fast a cloud can change, but I still remember how it looked. So I celebrate Green Clouds Day on February 6th. At times like that, I always think, what if I'd missed it?
what if I'd been in the house?
Or what if I hadn't looked up when I did?
You can see I'm very lucky about things like that.
And I was looking on Coyote Day because out of all time, it had to be one moment only that a certain coyote and I could meet, and we did.
Friend, you should have been here too.
I was following deer tracks, taking my time, bending down as I walked, kind of humming.
I hum a lot.
I looked up in time to see a young coyote trotting through the brush.
She crossed in front of me. It was a windy day and she was going east.
In that easy, silent way coyotes move, she pushed into the wind.
I stood there hardly breathing and wishing I could move that way.
I was surprised to see her stop and turn and look at me.
She seemed to think that I was just another creature following another rocky trail.
That's true, of course, I am.
She didn't hurry, she wasn't afraid.
I saw her eyes and she saw mine.
That log held us together.
Because of that, I will never feel quite the same again.
So on September 28th, I celebrate Coyote Day.
Here's what I do. I walk the trail I walked that day, and I hum softly as I go.
Finally, I unwrap the feast I've brought for her.
Last time, it was 3 apples and some pumpkin seeds and an ear of corn and some big, soft homemade ginger cookies.
The next day, I happened to pass that way again.
Coyote tracks went all around the rock where the food had been, and the food was gone.
Next year, I'll make it even better.
I'll bring an extra piece, and I'll eat there too. Another one of my greatest of all celebrations is called the Time of Falling Stars.
It lasts almost a week in the middle of August, and I wait all year for those hot summer nights when the sky goes wild.
You can call them meteor showers if you want to.
Me, I like to say they're falling stars.
All that week I sleep outside, I give my full attention to the sky. And every time a streak of light goes shooting through the darkness, I feel my heart shoot out of me.
One night I saw a fireball that left a long red blazing trail across the sky.
After it was gone, I stood there looking up, not quite believing what I'd seen. The strange thing was, I met a man who told me he had seen it too, while he was lying by a campfire 500 miles away. He said he did not sleep again that night. Suddenly it seemed that we two spoke a language no one else could understand. Every August of my life, I'll think of that.
Friend, I've saved my New Year celebration until last.
Mine is a little different from the one most people have.
It comes in spring.
To tell the truth, I never did feel like my New Year started January 1st.
To me, that's just another winter day.
I let my year begin when winter ends and the morning light comes earlier the way it should. That's when I feel like starting new.
I wait
Until
the white-winged doves
I'm back from Mexico,
and wildflowers
cover the hill,
and my favorite
cactus blooms. It always makes me think I ought to bloom myself.
And that's when I start to plan my New Year's celebration.
I finally choose a day that is exactly right.
Even the air has to be perfect, and the dirt has to feel good and warm on bare feet.
Usually it's a Saturday around the end of April.
I have a drum that I beat to the signal for the day.
Then I go wandering off, following all of my favorite trails to all of the places I like.
I check how everything is doing.
I spend the day admiring things. If the old desert tortoise I know from last year is out strolling around, I'll go his direction a while. I celebrate with horned toads and ravens and lizards and quail. And friend, it's not a bad party.
Walking back home, kind of humming sometimes, I think about those people who ask me if I'm lonely here. I have to laugh out loud.